You are listening to Skin, Earth, Vitality, the podcast where ancient wisdom meets modern vitality. I'm Emily Davis, a seasoned holistic esthetician and herbalist. Join me as we unlock the secrets of ancient skincare practices, explore the beauty of seasonal living, herbalism, and true holistic well-being for you and the broader ecosystem. Hey there. I hope that your day is well, and I hope that you are excited for this episode. Today, I'm going to get into talking about one of my most asked about topics, which is eye cream, and do I even need one? And of course, I will be looking at this from a very comprehensive lens. And with that, I should mention, as an herbalist and esthetician, I bring my expertise and passion for health to our discussions. However, it's important to note that the information that I'm sharing on this podcast and on all podcast episodes is for entertainment and educational purposes only. While I strive to always provide accurate and up-to-date information, the content is not to be construed as medical advice or a substitution for professional consultation. Before making any changes to your health, you should definitely consult with a qualified healthcare provider or a licensed professional. I am going to get into Chinese medicine a little bit today, and I want to state that I am in no means an expert on Chinese medicine. If what I say feels resonant to you, I would definitely take that information and let it spark your curiosity, and then find an acupuncturist who feels really resonant for you and seek out their advice. We'll be talking about the kidneys and the kidney system and how that affects the appearance of the eyes. And if you feel that that is something that you should concentrate on more, then they would be a really great resource for you. Okay, so let's dive into the episode. And what is holistic, anyways? This word gets thrown around a lot, and I think that it has in part to do with the awakening that we are experiencing within humanity, within the world right now. And I think in some part it's because it's trendy. Holistic is going to refer to an approach that considers the whole system rather than focusing only on the individual parts of the system or of the body. It emphasizes the interconnectedness and the interdependence of various elements within our system. And in holistic thinking, the whole viewed as being greater than the sum of its parts. And attention is given to the relationships and the interconnectedness between these parts. So I say all of that because in this episode, I'm going to talk about eye cream, but I also want to recognize that simply reaching for an eye cream to address specific concerns with the way that the eyes look is more of that reductionist way of thinking about it. It may not effectively address the underlying causes of dark circles, for example, because it's relying on the assumption that dark circles are maybe due to dry skin or lack of hydration, or best case scenario, using an ingredient like caffeine to increase stagnant blood temporarily. But ultimately, this is going to lead you on a wild goose chase, potentially for the rest of your life, spending tons of money on promises of beauty marketing and quote unquote trying everything, but never really being satisfied. Instead, I want to take a look at concerns with the aesthetic of the eyes from a more comprehensive perspective, because skincare is the icing, but there's so much depth to the cake below. So, my objective for this episode is to arm you with a little bit of knowledge about your body so that you can actually make lasting changes that can pair well with your favorite eye cream if you decide that that's a good option for you. So, today I'm going to get into the 5 main concerns with eyes that I get asked about. And those include dark circles, puffiness, crow's feet, hooded eyes, and then red, dry, or rashy skin around the eyes. Maybe it just looks like red dots around the eyes. So we'll get into each of those. We will talk about ingredients that can support, if an eye cream is even going to be supportive of those concerns. We'll talk about facial massage and how it can potentially help each of those. And then we'll also talk about lifestyle modifications that could potentially be looked at as well. But on that note, I want to make sure that we take some time to think about how we can rewrite the stories that we tell ourselves about our appearance. And this is no more true than about our eyes. I think that this is one thing that we look at and we see aging. There is so much beauty and freedom in not fearing age. We've been taught from a very young age that aging is wrong, and we know cognitively that that's ludicrous. But still, so many people continue to feed into this. And I see things like memes on the internet that say, if you wore this shoe, or if you did this or that, it means you're now at the age that you need an eye cream. And I just feel like that narrative has gotten really tired and it's not really funny anymore. I think that the world is changing in such a big and beautiful way that that type of thinking is something that for our own peace, it would behoove us to release because it's keeping us bound and it's holding us back. And also, at the same time, I believe that applying beautiful concoctions to our skin is a very sacred practice with a long history behind it. You can listen to last week's episode that I did about oils, and I got into that a little bit more. And in addition to that, the face is the mirror of our body. It's a barometer that tells us what's happening internally. So I personally like to pay attention to that. All of that to say, I just want you to pay attention to the energy behind why you want an eye cream, why you're asking about an eye cream, because that's really just going to help support your liberation in the bigger picture. And I know you didn't pop this episode on thinking that I was going to get into a whole philosophical discussion when you signed up to hear about what eye cream is best, but here we are. So I've been an esthetician for 17 years. That's almost 2 decades of answering the question, do I need an eye cream? This is definitely one of the top things that people ask me about. And that's because the eyes are a focal point of our face. And my answer to that really depends on the person. I do think the beauty industry loves to make you think that you need every single step in a skincare routine or you're going to age horribly and live your later years of life living in regret that you didn't buy that eye cream for preventative maintenance when you were in your 30s. But I have a different approach. Rather than supporting this scarcity model, I like to think of it from the perspective of what's your desired outcome? Do you currently have specific concerns about the aesthetics of your eyes? And then also, what is your current skincare routine? So, if you do have specific concerns about the appearance of your eyes, then there are ingredients in an eye cream that can certainly support, depending on what the concern is. And then if you don't have specific concerns, a great moisturizer, facial oil, or my favorite, a balm might be enough. Eye creams are formulated to be slightly heavier and with targeted ingredients, which we'll get into momentarily. But if you feel that the area around your eyes is not feeling supple and moisturized, even after taking your moisturizer or your oil or your balm to the orbital bone, you might feel better with an eye cream, just something a little bit heavier. An eye cream should be applied after your toner and oil or balm or moisturizer, and it should be applied before your sunblock if you're wearing it. It should be applied gently to the orbital bone. There's no need to apply it inside of this area because it's going to travel inside on its own. If you're applying your eye product all the way up to your lash line, it's going to travel into the eye and cause puffiness and irritation. Take a listen to last week's episode when I talk about emulsifiers and creamy creams and how a really emulsifier rich or synthetic emulsifier rich product is not going to be doing any favors for the barrier of your skin. This applies to eye creams as well. So if you missed that episode, go check that out because it's relevant here as well. So as I said, there's 5 top things that I get asked about for the eye area. This is dark circles, puffiness, crow's feet, hooded eyes, and then red, dry, or rashy skin around the eyes. I'll break down each of these starting with dark eye circles, and I'll talk about ingredients that you can look for in an eye cream that can support each one as we go along. After I get into dark circles and puffy eyes is when I'm going to talk a little bit about the internal causes of both of these. So if that's what you're really interested in, sit tight. The main things that cause dark circles are going to be number 1, thin skin. This is when the skin under the eyes is thinner than in the other areas of the face, making blood vessels and any underlying structures more visible. It can create the appearance of dark circles. This can be caused genetically. It can happen naturally as we age also. But ingredients that help with this are going to include plant peptides, niacinamide, one of my favorite herbs for firming, which is gotu kola. And all of these can help to support the integrity of the tissue itself. Additionally, facial cupping is a favorite massage for me for this specific issue because it's going to support better integrity of the tissue. The next reason that you may see dark circles under your eyes could be from blood vessel congestion. So, this is congested blood sitting below the surface of the skin. It's caused from dilated blood vessels or congestion beneath the skin that's going to lead to a bluish or purplish tint, especially easy to see if you have fair or light skin. This can be caused by a lack of sleep or allergies, smoking, drinking alcohol excessively, and even mouth breathing. My favorite massage tools for this are the small facial cupping cups and vibrating massage wands. And then ingredients that can encourage healthy blood flow include things like vitamin K, arnica oil, caffeine. Caffeine is a darling here because it's going to actually get that blood moving and it can temporarily reduce blood congestion. Again, it's temporary, but for a temporary benefit, I even like to soak green tea bags in hot water and then let them cool down and then apply that to the skin. That will give you an instant brightening around the eyes if you do have blood congestion. But as I said, after we talk about puffy eyes, I'm going to talk about maybe why we're seeing that blood congestion and what you can pair with the temporary effects of things like caffeine. The final thing that might be causing the appearance of dark circles under your eyes is a little bit different than the first two. Those were specifically about blood below the eyes that you could see through the skin. The next one is excessive pigmentation or hyperpigmentation. This is generally caused by something like hormone imbalance, smoking, pollution. A topical irritant like fragrance can make you more sensitive to the sun and cause hyperpigmentation. Certain medications can lead to increased melanin production, causing hyperpigmentation, and of course, excessive sun exposure. However, it is interesting to look at if we're just seeing hyperpigmentation under the eyes, which will look like more of a brownish tint rather than a blue or purple tint. Um, it's hard to think that the sun is just hitting our skin in that specific space. And so to me, it's maybe more likely that a hormonal imbalance is causing this. Some of my favorite ingredients to support the reduction of hyperpigmentation include licorice root, green tea, bearberry extract, vitamin C. So, if hyperpigmentation is the reason behind your dark circles, looking for an eye cream with these types of ingredients while also addressing why you're getting hyperpigmentation in this area specifically can be really beneficial. So, we've talked about dark circles. That was our first in our list of 5. The next is puffy eyes. Puffy eyes are the result of fluid retention. And we can have fluid retention for many different reasons. I'm going to name a few that may at first glance feel somewhat out of your control, but the overarching message that I want to convey is that that is not the case. There may be underlying factors, but it's definitely something that you can take aligned action to make a change with or potentially reverse. So, the first one that could be causing fluid congestion is allergies. Sinus congestion can cause fluid to be stuck below the eyes or above the eyes. A lack of sleep. And this is because with a lack of sleep, we see dilated blood vessels that can lead to increased permeability in the capillaries. And this increased permeability can allow fluid and proteins to leak out of the blood vessels and into the surrounding tissue, leading to swelling and fluid retention. The next reason you may see puffy eyes is dehydration. And this is because inadequate hydration can lead to a fluid imbalance in our body, resulting in water retention and puffiness in other areas like around the eyes. Aging is another factor. As we age, the muscle and tissue around the eyes can weaken and the skin can lose elasticity, making it more prone to fluid retention and puffiness. Hormonal changes, the fluctuations in our hormone levels, such as those occurring during pregnancy or menopause or menstruation, can lead to fluid retention in various parts of our body, including around our eyes. So, all of these can be something leading to fluid retention, and there are some ingredients that can help reduce fluid retention, primarily astringent ingredients. So things like witch hazel or chamomile or rose can all help to tighten the tissue that can become lax and we see fluid retention. I am a big fan of massage for puffiness and for fluid retention. So manual lymphatic drainage is a great option here. And in my shop, I carry the lymph brush, which is a really wonderful tool that has been designed to help support fluid movement because manual lymphatic drainage is a very specific technique and it can be mm, It can be a little bit more on the difficult side to master. It's certainly not impossible and definitely something that you can excel at with practice. But the lymph brush takes the guesswork out and makes it very simple, something that you can do without putting a lot of thought into it. From the Chinese medicine lens, the appearance of dark circles under the eyes or fluid retention around the eyes is often interpreted as a potential indication of an imbalance in the kidneys and the adrenals. In Chinese medicine, the kidney system does not actually refer to just the kidneys, but it instead includes the adrenals, the kidneys, the bladder, the uterus, and also the water distribution throughout the body. If you have decreased kidney function, this is going to affect hair growth and associated with symptoms like tiredness, frequent urination during the night, irregular periods, early menopause. And in TCM, the kidneys are often associated with the concept of kidney chi, which represents the vital energy or life force with the kidneys. Kidney chi deficiency is believed to be the result of factors such as chronic stress, overworking, poor diet, or inadequate rest. When the kidney chi is weak or deficient, it can look like dark circles or puffiness around the eyes. Chronic puffy eyes may be a symptom of hypertension or high blood pressure, and this can tie into kidney health as well. We know that stress can mess with our body, and one of the things that it can mess with is your blood pressure. When you're super stressed, your body releases a hormone called aldosterone. This hormone tells your kidneys to hold on to salt, which makes your body hold on to more water. And when your body holds on to more water, your blood volume goes up, which means your blood pressure goes up as well. So, stress can make your blood pressure higher. So, it's all connected. We know that. And in Western herbalism, herbs that support the kidney and the bladder and the adrenals include things like nettle, yarrow, violet, sage, dandelion leaf, parsley, shepherd's purse, horsetail, and one of my favorites, herbalist Matthew Wood has discussed self-heal, the herb self-heal for fortifying kidneys rather than by actively stimulating them. So I really love self-heal is just such a beautiful little plant, and I really love that it has that affinity for fortifying the kidney. Number 3 in our list of 5 reasons that somebody may be seeking out an eye cream is crow's feet. These are also known as smile lines. When we get a wrinkle that is caused from a facial expression, it's called a dynamic wrinkle. To understand why we get wrinkles due to expression, we need to note that the skin on our face is directly attached to the muscle below. This is not the case with the rest of our body. And so if you imagine the muscle below the eye, which is called the orbicularis oculi, I would love if you would just take a second to Google this muscle so that you can understand what it looks like. The orbicularis oculi muscle encircles the eye and controls eyelid movement, including blinking and squinting. Contraction of this muscle during facial expression over time causes the muscle to shorten, and this is the case with all dynamic wrinkles or wrinkles caused by facial expression or from facial moving. And it's going to cause this muscle to shorten. It physically becomes shorter. So imagine that you've got a piece of cloth that was glued to a band, like a giant rubber band. And if the cloth were attached to the band as it was stretched out, the skin or that cloth would be wrinkling as it shortens or as it becomes smaller. And this is similar to why the skin wrinkles with the shortening of the muscle. However, massage can help to lengthen the muscle again. And that's not to say that massage is going to erase all wrinkles forever, but it can help to support the health of this muscle. Ingredients that can help with crow's feet include some of those firming ingredients that I talked about before, like gotu kola or plant peptides. All peptides are going to be really beneficial here, but because I do tend to favor more natural ingredients, I recommend plant peptides because they can be really beautiful. Niacinamide is another lovely option here. And as I said, facial massage, things like cupping, which can help to increase collagen production, support the lengthening of that muscle and support the elasticity in our skin. And then even just massage with our best tools, which is our hands around this area, can be really beneficial. Number 4 in our list of 5 is hooded eyes. Hooded eyes occur when excess skin droops down from the brow bone onto the upper eyelid, partially covering the eyelid and sometimes obstructing vision. Changes in muscle tone and facial structure are the main contributing factors for hooded eyes. And the muscles that are responsible here are going to be the frontalis muscle, which is the muscle of the forehead region. It's responsible for raising the eyebrows and creating also forehead wrinkles. Hyperactivity of the frontalis muscle can contribute to a downward pull on the brow area. Next is the orbicularis oculi muscle. Again, that muscle that encircles the eye and controls our eyelid movement can contribute when we have laxity in this muscle. And ingredients can do a little bit to support here. Again, the firming ingredients that we've talked about. But primarily massage if you are looking for a more natural route here instead of something like surgery. Massage is going to be an amazing option that can be quite effective as long as you are doing it properly. So again, facial cupping is a great manipulation. Manipulating the frontalis muscle all the way up into the scalp, manipulating the temporalis muscle, which is right above our ears. So getting in there, softening that muscle, even the occipital ridge at the bottom can have a lot to do with how the frontalis muscle is able to hold our skin up on our face. So I'm a big fan of facial massage here, and then getting in and doing specific manipulations on the orbicularis oculi muscle. Another option outside of massage is also microcurrent. So things like the New Face device can help quite a bit here. Last on our list is red, dry, rashy skin around the eyes. This is potentially going to be what's called periocular dermatitis, or also known as periorbital dermatitis. Dermatitis really just means some type of inflammation of the skin. And this inflammation can affect areas around the eyes known as the periocular or around the eye region. This condition typically presents as redness, swelling, itching, sometimes scaling or flaking of the skin around the eyes. It can also be atopic dermatitis, which is eczema. People with eczema are very prone to developing dermatitis around the eyes. It's all a disturbance in the skin's barrier, and I will definitely do more on dermatitis and eczema in future episodes. It's near and dear to my heart because I have suffered with this condition, particularly periocular dermatitis, for many years of my life. And I haven't had an outbreak for a long while, knock on wood. But from my personal experience, reducing my body's inflammatory load was really important. So things like stress management, a balanced diet with anti inflammatory food, sufficient hydration, proper mineralization, good sleep hygiene were some of the modifications that helped. I literally have tried everything under the sun out there, but I think that these are kind of the key foundational items. And I'm also a big believer that when we see a severe skin disorder, there is an underlying emotional component that, when addressed, will support healing. As far as topical support, this can be very important for soothing this. So, occlusive fatty products like shea butter, or a balm with a hydrosol made from chamomile or calendula or yarrow, a compress soaked in plantain leaf tea, and plantain meaning Plantago officinalis, not plantain like the banana, is what I mean here. It's just a really lovely plant that helps to knit the tissue back together. Propolis honey as a mask has been very helpful for many people. Additionally, red light therapy can be very beneficial, but I'm a big believer that you do need to address the internal factors before you're going to see proper healing. Have seen from experience that you're really not going to have proper healing unless you do address the root cause. Everything else, even if it's natural, is a band-aid treatment. This is not a case where I would recommend anything with essential oils. They can be very barrier disruptive. And that's not to say essential oils are bad in any way. They definitely have their place or time. But in this situation, I certainly would not recommend them. So, today we broke down the 5 main reasons why somebody would seek out an eye cream, and that would be dark under eye circles, puffiness, crow's feet, hooded eyes, or red, dry, or rashy skin. I talked about some of the reasons behind them, what to look for in an eye cream if that would help you, and if massage might be a better option. So I hope that you enjoyed it. Now that you've listened to this information that I gathered together for you, I would invite you to listen to your own intuition to tell you if you should bring an eye cream into your skincare routine or if you should let it go. My invitation to you is that every practice you take part in, even if it's something as seemingly trivial as a face care routine, have some intention behind it, and that you're merely not following because it's something you think that you should do. I'm a believer that how you do one thing has an effect on how your broader thinking and broader actions in your life are. So I'll leave that with you today. If you enjoyed this episode, I would love if you would do me a favor and share it with one person who you think would benefit from it. Hit subscribe so that you can be sure to catch the next episode, which may have an impact on your life. And I'll be back next week to talk a little bit more about intuitive skincare and how I practice this when it comes to the sun. I'll be talking all about SPF and my thoughts on our unnatural fear of the sun. Until then, be well.